Tokyo is Japan's biggest and richest city by far, and most people would assume that most rich people live in Tokyo. But what if I told you that there was another place right outside of Tokyo where a lot of wealthy people live? That would be here in Yamate. This is in Yokohama. And today I'm going to give you a full tour of Yamate and also, of course, give you a tour of a house over here. So let's get to it.
The first thing you may notice about Yamate is the architecture and street layout. Any way you look at this, it just doesn't look like Japan. Established in the 1800s as an exclusive haven for foreigners, the Bluffs, as Yamate is also known as in English, has kept this intriguing international vibe for centuries. Walking around here, you can practically tour the world without ever changing zip codes. Sure, the houses are nice here, but Yamate also has plenty of greenery in its parks. Here you can find both a rose garden with views of the Yokohama Harbor, aptly named the Harbor View Park, and views of downtown Yokohama in the neighboring Amerikayama Park, the original planned site of the American consulate for Japan. This connection with the outside world continues with Yamate having one of the best international schools in the greater Tokyo area, and even a fully fledged country club on the top of the hill. Just down the hill is the upscale Motomachi shopping district, with high-end boutiques and eateries dotting the narrow streets. And across the river from that is Yokohama Chinatown, the largest in East Asia, and home to some of my favorite Chinese places in Japan, including Manshinro Tenshimpo, the first dim sum restaurant in Japan. Try the piglet-shaped dumplings. Seriously. Because of all the amenities in the area, many of Yamate's residents rarely feel the need to venture out to Tokyo, as everything can be found within a short stroll of their house. As you can see, the Yamate area is one of the most unique neighborhoods in Japan, and has been and will continue being a haven for Japan's ultra-wealthy for years to come. Today I have access to a grand estate up here for sale. Why don't we go take a look?
And now we're inside. And the first thing I want you to notice is that unlike literally every other house and apartment that I've shown on this channel, I'm not gonna take off my shoes. I'm just gonna kind of wipe them right here. And you might think, oh, we're in the middle of Japan and you're not taking off your shoes? What are you doing? No, this place is owned by a non-Japanese family, and this was specifically made for non-Japanese people. So hence why I'm walking around with my shoes on. But first thing you see right over here, we have a nice little toilet, complete with sink, but you're not gonna be interested in that. You're gonna be interested in what's over here. This is the living room. It's quite spacious, it's quite nice and breezy and bright all at the same time. And also, you can see it has this beautiful woodwork right over here. So if you look really closely at these little pieces, you'll notice that it's all handmade. Each one of these is a handmade little block that they've meticulously put into this pattern over here. And also, what you'll notice is if you walk into this room over here, you'll see the same exact pattern, but you'll also see that it's a little bit maybe older looking. And that is exactly what it is. This is original to the house. It's from 1927, but the floors over there are from the 1970s. And yet they look basically the exact same. Why would that be? Turns out that the owner of this place wanted to replace the carpet that was in there originally, and went and found the grandson of the guy that did this to do all of the woodwork in there. So that's a pretty good story in my book. But right next to me, you'll see also the tour de force of this room, which is this fireplace over here. Yes, it works. Yes, this is copper. And yes, they polished this to make it this beautiful mirror finish. If I was to touch this in about 3 weeks, it would have my fingerprints on it, so I'm not going to touch it. So another thing to notice in this room is that you have this setup right here. This is a radiator, and you've seen this if you live anywhere outside of Japan, but in Japan, you almost never see these. So the whole place has a radiator system built into it, so it's great in the winter. And even in the summer, it's a hot day today, but it's not too hot in here. And one of the reasons would be this balcony, which is right over here. And the second you come out here, you can tell it's completely different. You have the breeze flowing into your face. You can hear the sounds of all the cicadas right next to you and see this view, this absolutely beautiful view, unlike any other that I've seen in Japan. But we'll get to the actual garden space down there in a second. Let's go back inside. So a little bit more on the architect of this place. Max Hinder was alive in the turn of the century in Japan, and he was more known for doing churches. really. And that's why you can see some kind of churchy design elements in here, but he also managed to mix in a lot of Japanese elements as well, which you can kind of see within this dining room. Well, for one thing, you have these lights up here, which I absolutely love. Very Japanese-y and Asian-y, let's call it, design language on there, and even has paper on there too. So this extremely large dining room can easily fit a table for maybe 10, 15, even 20 if you really wanted to squeeze them in. And I love every aspect about this. Again, very high ceilings, very open feeling, and if you have the windows over there and the windows over there open, a nice cool breeze will come through, even in the middle of the summer, as it is today. And also, in the middle of the summer, you might be able to hear, as it is deafening right now, the sounds of the cicadas going. That's a very Japanese thing that you'll see a lot. And even out here, you have another access to your garden, which we'll get to in a minute. But first off, let's go see the kitchen. So as I mentioned earlier, this place is originally from 1927, but the current owners bought it in the 1970s and redid a lot of things, and including adding an annex to this place. But one thing they did do was take this kitchen and redo it once in the 70s, but then redo it another time in the 90s, and you can kind of tell just based off of the woodwork and all that in here. It could use a little updating, to be completely honest, but I love how open it is and how much of a familial place it is, right? A place for the family to gather and cook together and, you know, all that. That's why you have 2 refrigerators over here, because it was a pretty big family. But let's go see what's upstairs. Ugh. But before we go upstairs, let's go check out the wine cellar. So it looks a little treacherous going down here, and, well, to be honest, it's a little bit of a climb. But once you're down here, you'll see that you actually have plenty of space to put all of your little wine collection. Isn't that nice? Let's go back upstairs. The second you come upstairs, you'll notice that everything is a lot quieter. That would be due to the plush carpet that is put right all over these floors. And also what you'll might notice is that the design language has changed a little bit. Yes, a lot more wood paneling, and that would be because this part is actually from the 1970s. At least most of the second floor is. And also you see very low profile, old school radiator unit over here. But once you make a left over here, you can see that you are in the master suite. And with every good master bedroom, you need a good master bathroom. And that's where you have this right here. So this is probably the most 1970s bathroom that I've ever seen in my life, but I love that kind of charm, you know, the hand-painted tiles and just the very gold and blue color scheme, right? A little bit of white as well. Nice big sink, plenty of soap dishes, all that good stuff, and a separate shower and bath. You have to remember that this place was not built for Japanese people in mind, hence why it has a very European vibe to it. And that does kind of translate into the master bedroom itself. As you can see, this is gigantic. I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look back into this, this might be the biggest master bedroom I've ever shown, or biggest bedroom I've ever shown on Tokyo Portfolio up until now. And even in this room, you can see you have hand-done floors. That's a very big theme in this place, is hand-done woodwork in general. Little tiny slats and very intricate designs. And I just love how they look in this sprawling master bedroom. But even up here, you have some tiny little Japanese touches, just like this little light fixture up here, and even the door that separates the master bedroom from its walk-in closet. This is an old-style Japanese door as well. But let's go outside so I can show you the rest of it. One thing when you're in here, you'll realize is that it's made for a big family. Hence why you have, first off, the big master bedroom and bath suite, but you have another bathroom right over here, all nicely done in blue tile, and then a third bathroom over here in very nice white tile as well. But, you know, big family needs a lot of big bedrooms as well, so here's the first children's bedroom. Very bright, very white, and with a beautiful view of, well, the port of Yokohama. Yes, you can actually see part of the little port over there. It's not that little, it's the biggest port in Japan. But speaking of the port of Yokohama, and keeping with the whole little nautical theme that this place has, you can see this has a little porthole window over here. It's not even a circle, it's actually a hexagon. And I have never seen anything like that, but that's very cool. So let's go see the other bedrooms. And here is the second kids' room. can see because of how the roof is over here, you have a little bit of an angle over here. But if it's just your bed over here, why do you need a high ceiling? I love how this is. It's a little cubby, it's not too small though. And the best part about this place is that it actually has a second entrance that you can just kind of crawl out of like that. Or if you're a kid that's this tall, you could just run around without having to crouch or anything. But when you're in here, well, this is kind of like a second living space, or you could use this as a bedroom if you guys are really comfortable with being close to each other. So 1, 2, 3 bedrooms so far. And come over here into what I would use as an office, but I believe the previous owners, well, the current owners actually used it as a bedroom, hence why you have this little light fixture already on the wall over here. Again, very nicely done floors. These are the exact same ones that are in the master bedroom that we just saw right now, but they too overlook a beautiful view, this time of the garden, which again, we'll get to very, very shortly, and the mountains of Yokohama, including a park over there. So one thing is that your view will probably not change too much in the future because most of that hill is a park. Now, let's go see the final bedroom, which is right over here. Again, beautiful wood paneling, very 70s in aesthetic. I personally love that. And even this place has a little bit of Asian flair to it via this light fixture, which I think is necessary because otherwise you wouldn't remember that you're actually in Japan and not somewhere where you could have a lot more space like Europe or America. But let's just talk about that lot. This place is half an acre. Okay, that's 2,000 square meters. That's gigantic. And it has one of the best gardens I've ever seen in Japan. So let's go see it right now. So now on to the most Japanese part of this whole property, which would be this massive garden. It's a completely Japanese style garden, complete with its own little fountain over there and everything. And I mean, I said earlier, this is half an acre. That's gigantic anywhere in the world, but especially in this country where the average plot size is closer to about maybe 1,000 square feet or 100 square meters. So let's go see the rest of it. So this garden is on steps, and I mean steps with the 2 Ps, not these kind of steps. You have the first level up there and then the second level down here. And what I love about this place is that it has an actual lawn, which I've never seen in any other property in Japan up until now. And also, think of it this way. You have your family here. You have your big family here. You have your kids playing on the swing over there. You have your dog running around in circles like crazy on this big yard right over here. And you know, you don't need to leave this place because think of it this way. You have your own lemon tree. That means you don't even have to go to the grocery store to get your lemons for your gin and tonics in the summer. You just pick them right down here. I mean, they're not ripe yet, but I'm sure they'll be good. If anything, this is your oasis. This is your privacy in the middle of the city. You're just looking over the city of Yokohama and you're within a 20, maybe 30-minute drive from Haneda Airport. This place is so close to the airport, even though you can't even hear an airplane. Think of it this way. If your friend came into Tokyo, into Haneda Airport, and said, oh, I just arrived right now, then you could start driving and get there before he gets out of immigration. That's amazing. And once he comes up here, he can see this beautiful fountain that you have to yourself. Just look at that. Right now it's off, obviously, but when this is on, this little duck over here and that little turtle over there will be spouting water out of their mouths and make this a beautiful little retreat for you. So this is one of the best stocked gardens I've ever seen in Japan. You have trees from all over the place. For one thing, this whole side over here is stocked full with black bamboo. I love how that looks. And then also you have your camellia trees. You have your jasmine bush over there. You even have pine needles all over the place. There's a pine tree up there. There's a pine tree over there. And you even have a ginkgo tree. Look, I know this doesn't sound that amazing. Oh, my garden has a lot of trees. No, in Japan, 1, you never have a garden, and 2, you never have a beautiful garden like this. But this garden has one other secret, so let's go see that upstairs. So now we're on the top of the garden again, and what I wanted to show you up here is this. Now, it doesn't really look like much to most people, but this is actually an old Chinese drum. And yes, it is a drum, in fact. It might look like a plate or something like that, but watch what happens when I slam on it. Yeah. Isn't that great? So, I mean, you could use this as a fountain or just keep it as decoration like they have, or get rid of it. It's completely up to you, but I personally love how it looks. And it is situated conveniently right in front of the last room that I'm going to show you, the annex. So again, this is the last room in this beautiful house. And you can tell right away that this is from the 1970s just because of the wood paneling and all that. What I really like is these rattan chairs, gives it a kind of Asian vibe, which comes into the bedroom as well. Again, with its rattan beds in it, you can see this is a good size for a nice little guest bed. It even has its own bathroom right over there. But you know what, let's sit over here and talk numbers because, well, this place is absolutely gigantic. You have to remember that this place is seated on about a half an acre of land. That's about 2,000 square meters or so. And the house itself is 4,300 square feet, 406 square meters or so. That's gigantic in most countries, but especially in Japan. Now, a place this big must command a pretty big price tag, and it kind of does, right? So this place is 467 million yen, which is about $3.2 million in today's exchange rate. But if you were to get this anywhere inside Tokyo, especially in the central parts, boy, you'd be spending a lot more than that. Now, if you want to learn more about this property, you can click in the link in the description below. Feel free to visit us on tokyoportfolio.com, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. Until next time, thanks for watching.